Did you hear what Summit had to say about Elden Ring? What did Summit say about Elden Ring? Yeah, he hates it. Why does he not? He doesn't like the game? Watch the clip. It's so funny. Okay. I want to see, like, what caused it. Like, what actually sent him over the edge. Because I'm really curious. Here we go.
Fuck me, dude. No wonder they give you a horse, dude. What they should do is just give you... They should immediately tell you when you get the horse. You're gonna need this thing because there's a lot of open, ball-sack, stupid areas on in this game now that are completely useless that you're gonna have to go run around. Dude, I can't, man. I can't. Yo, there's a reason I don't play Breath of the Wild, chat. Everybody loves it, but I fucking hate it because you have to just roam around and do nothing and actively just randomly stumble on something, bro. I'll fucking play Fallout if I want to do that. I just... It's not why I play this game.
Get it out of your system, brother.
It's fucking stupid. Literally going to corners of the map to find nothing. Corners of the map to find nothing on your stupid fucking horse. Literally, they give you a horse because...
Well, that's where the dragon thing is. That's where the dragon pyromancies, isn't it?
There's so much fucking nothing to find.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, yeah... Well, let me look around and I'll see this other one, okay? This is probably... Dude, this boss sucks so bad. I want to watch him do it. Oh, wow.
If they would have said, hey, maybe you should fucking go along the rocks and look for some fucking shit there, or along the beach and explore some stuff. No, it says, hey, go to this fucking castle. And you're like, okay. Yeah. Stop screaming. Stop watching my fucking shit.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh, fuck. No, don't kill me now. I need to get my souls.
Well... Oh, I thought it was gonna get him in the last second. Oh, I'm so disappointed that didn't happen. Oh, wow. Here's the thing, right? Is like, Elden Ring is definitely a departure from the normal Souls series. Of course it is. And because of that, you're gonna have a lot of people like Summit that are like, well, you know, I don't really get into this in the same way, right? Why is that? It's just simply because of their personality, and that's just the way it goes. Like, if he didn't play these kinds of games before, and he's playing this one and he doesn't like it, it's not really that big of a surprise, man. I really don't think so. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I think he's on the wrong mindset. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, in my opinion, I wouldn't go into Elden Ring, like, because it is, like, really overwhelming. Like, this happens to me a lot whenever I play games, is, like, I'll play a game, and it'll be, like, so new, and I'll have to learn so many things about it, it will just completely overwhelm me mentally, and I'll have to, like, stop playing and take a couple of days to like process everything and then come back and play it again. It's like Lost Ark is that way. I remember Valheim was like that for me. There's a lot of games that just kind of completely like mentally overwhelm me because I don't know why. It's like some form of like fucking like, you know, high functioning autism. I have no idea, but I don't care. It's just, it is what it is. So because I get overwhelmed and freaked out like that, Elden Ring gave me that vibe for just a little bit, but because I knew the first few areas to go to, I didn't really worry about it as much. And also, like, hanging out with McConnell, doing it on stream, etc. Like, I wanted to look at it as, like, just, like, exploring. And I looked at the game kind of like, let me think of a way to put this. Like, I looked at it as if it was just, like, an experience that I'm going through, and I almost played it like an MMO. Rather than going and playing it like a Dark Souls game. Because, yeah, like, having an open world like that is completely fucking different than the way it was for, you know, for Dark Souls or for Sekiro, right? Now, I was talking about Sekiro's combat. I'm gonna make sure I finish that. I think Sekiro objectively has the best combat. Like, it's the most responsive, it has the least glitches, it's just the best combat that From Software has to offer. In terms of, not in terms of its breadth of content, like, you can only do, like, a handful of things in Sekiro, but every single thing that you can do is very well designed. There are very few, like, glitchy, shitty animations or actions or whatever, and I think that's what makes Sekiro such a good game, is that Sekiro is not a wide game, but it is a very deep game. And it is a deep game that you can get better and better and better at just by understanding the mechanics. And that's what I think that's good. That's what I think makes that good. The fact is that Elden Ring, I think, takes the positives of Sekiro and it translates them into a wider range of abilities and actions. So it gives you jumping. It gives you different attacks. It basically says, here, your tool belt, your utility belt for the game used to be 5 actions. Now it's 9. And you have a bunch of different things that you can do. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. Check the Elden Ring Steam reviews, Game of the Year 2022. Well, it's probably going to be people complaining. Like, the fact is, like, there are some things that are bad about Elden Ring. And I'm going to make sure this is very clear. There are bad things about Elden Ring. Like, for example, the PC frame rate issues are fucking garbage. Like, they are. They are fucking garbage. In my opinion, I think Margaret is too hard of a first boss. I know that might sound like, oh, Care Bear or whatever. I saw so many fucking people get absolutely demolished by Margaret. And the reason for that is just simply because you just parry him. Yeah, I know he's not hard. I beat him. Remember, I got the gear. I'd say I was probably like a little bit over leveled for it. I one-shot him. I one-shot the boss once I got the gear and I knew what he did. Yeah. So I'm not saying this is some kind of like fucking, and obviously I fucked it up a lot on the other test, but I didn't have a character. I didn't have my own character, right? It was just like some bullshit they gave me. So like the fact is, can you not spoil the game? At the very end, you become the Elden Lord. There it is. It's ruined now. It's over. You don't have to buy it anymore. You can refund it now on Steam. It's over. Game's done. You're finished. You don't have to worry at all. So yeah, there you go. It's been spoiled. People are so stupid with spoilers sometimes. Sometimes I feel like people are dumb enough to think that trailers are spoilers. If you watch a trailer for the game that's produced and put out by the company that makes the game, you're spoiling it for yourself. Holy shit. Okay, so look, here's what I'm really trying to say, is that Margaret is probably too hard of a first boss. And I'm not saying this as like, I can't beat the boss. Of course you can beat the boss. Because I know how to play these games. I knew that, oh, well, I'm going up against this boss. It seems like I'm not really doing a lot of damage to it. Well, I'll just go do some other side areas and then come back and go kill it. And it was easy, right? But a lot of other people don't do that. They just immediately go to the boss and then they try to fight the boss and they get their ass beat. And I think that's a big reason why you have as many people now getting stuck on Margaret. Like, they tunnel vision. Well, the reason why they tunnel vision is because the game tells them to do that, right? Go to the castle. They go to the castle, they fight the first boss, they get their shit pushed in, and then they get discouraged, and a lot of them stop playing the game. Is this an unreasonable thing for me to say? Yeah, I feel like this is just what happens. And so, like, I'm not even saying that... I'm not saying that this is like a bad, like that the game is bad. I'm not saying anything like this, but I feel like it does kind of push players in a direction where it's like you're kind of leading a player into a trap. Which, I mean, there is like a little bit of, I mean, you could say that there is validity in that, where it's like, okay, well, you do this in order to teach them that there's more to the game, etc. But to me, I would just prefer not to have bosses like that. I feel like they're just too hard for early game players. And maybe that's a too easy of a take, and we'll see how the game evolves. But I'd actually be really curious to see like what the drop-off percentages are after players hit that one boss. It's a Souls game, though? Yeah, but like, Cleric Beast wasn't that hard. Taurus Demon wasn't that hard. Neither was the Gargoyles, really. I mean, you can say that the Souls games are hard, but Margaret is like several degrees of magnitude harder than Taurus Demon, Champion Gundyr, or Vort of the Boreal Valley. He's harder than any of these early bosses. He's substantially harder. He's harder than Chained Ogre. He's harder than pretty much any boss I'd see in Sekiro, probably even almost up to maybe into Genichiro. Vort's so easy. Yeah, and that's all I'm saying, right? You see kind of where I'm getting at? Like, you can say it's a Souls game, but like if you say it's a Souls game, then he's hard. He's hard. That's the whole point that I'm making, man. And so, yeah, Margaret's not the first boss, and that is where that's where I'm trying to go, right? Is because like Souls games, this is the first Souls game that's open world. So do you know why I had no problem Do you want to know why I had no problem playing the game? Is because I played it like an MMO. I played it like a brand new world. I ran out, I explored, I got cool weapons, I went over there, and I beat the shit out of the boss. It was great. But the fact is that a lot of people aren't going to do that because they play it like a Souls game. And I think this is going to be the same learning curve that players are going to have as with Sekiro. Because I actually spent, I'm embarrassed to say this, I spent 7 hours fighting Lady Butterfly in Sekiro. 7 hours. Because I didn't know how to deflect. I beat her, but I also beat myself. Because I didn't know what the fuck to do. So you're going to have Lady Butterfly's hard boss? Yeah, and then I came back like a year later, and I played the game again on my second stream, and I killed her in like 2 tries. It was a joke. Like, it was, because she does like the 4 attacks, you hit her 4 times, you parry 4 times, you hit her 4 times, she goes up in the air, you throw the thing whenever she's doing a flip, and like, that's literally it. You can even kill her before she does the fucking butterflies into second phase. It's a joke, but I didn't fucking know. I was just being an idiot. And I think that's what's happening with Elden Ring, is you're seeing that same learning curve with Souls players that have been conditioned to go down a hallway that leads to another hallway, that leads to a hallway over here, that leads to a boss room, and after the boss room, there's a bonfire, and then you go to a new set of hallways. So it's hard to like condition a person's brain to have that paradigm shift. You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah, you guys see what I'm saying? Another casual filter? It's not about a casual filter. And I want you guys to understand something. It's not a good thing whenever a game filters players. This is not a good thing. Because when a game filters a player, that means people quit out of frustration. They quit because they don't enjoy the game. They're not having fun with it anymore, probably, or it's too hard for them. And almost always, players quit and they get, quote, filtered because they don't understand game mechanics. That's really what it is. I don't think that it's a good thing to have filters in the game that completely fuck people in the ass. That's their fault? No, it's not. It is not the player's fault. Not always. Because there is a certain element of responsibility the developer has, in my opinion, to making the game easy to understand. And allowing the game to teach you mechanics. It's bad design. Yes, it's bad design. You don't want people to stop the game you spent years working on. Yes, you want to like continuously encourage players to go farther and farther and farther. And I think the best game that doesn't really have much of a filter is Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 3. There is no boss in there that is the real filter. Like, you could say Nameless King, but I think Nameless King's an optional boss anyway, so I wouldn't even really put that on there. These games, they just get progressively harder and harder and harder. Like, obviously you have points of difficulty, like Ornstein and Smo and Capra Demon. I mean, yeah, those are huge points of difficulty. But the fact is that overall, I don't think that's the case. Yeah, filtering customers is retarded. What's chat on about? The reason why people in chat thinks filters are good is because it makes them feel good because they didn't get filtered. You're not thinking about it. You're thinking about it with your ego in mind. You're thinking about it, well, I don't get filtered because I'm good. And filters are bad. Therefore, wait, what the fuck? I can't be bad. How could I be bad? And that's what it really is. It's an ego thing. I don't think that it's not a good thing for games to have filters and to have like these major like bottleneck points where tons of players quit the game. Because in my opinion, what a game should do is a game should teach you and train you to overcome the challenges that you're about to face. Like, for example, in Sekiro, I'm going to use Sekiro for one more example, then I want to go ahead and look at some Reddit stuff, right? By the time that you fight Ishin, you are ready to fight Ishin. You know how to counter. You know how to lightning reversal. You know how to make distance. You know how to deflect. You know how to Mariki counter. You know how to avoid attacks, even, you know, like getting behind Genichiro for the phase 1, right? You know everything about the fight. Z, that's boring. Ishin is the best fight in all From Software games, period. It's the best fight. It's either him or Gale. And you can make the same argument with Gale as well. Like, it is the best fight. It's brutal. You don't even know. Yeah, it's really, really hard. You describe game design 101. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? And that's what bad players don't really care are going to quit. Simple as that. Oh, I know that. Make it easier then and less of a challenge / enjoyable for better players. Absolutely not. I think Sekiro did an amazing job teaching players how to get better. It really did. And because of that, obviously, I think a lot more people would play through the game. Now, Sekiro, a lot less people beat it because you didn't have the same tools that Dark Souls had. Like, the fact is that Dark Souls gave you so many tools to make the game easier. You can over-level. You can't over-level in Sekiro. You just can't do it because most of the prayer beads you get from killing bosses. So you can't over-level, really, unless you go and kill, like, secondary bosses, and even then, it's not that big. On top of that, you don't have summons. Like, I watched S-Fan do Margaret last night. He was getting his ass kicked. He pulled out a summon, and immediately it was a million times easier, right? And the fact is that the Dark Souls games do have easy modes. They have summons. They have armor sets like Havel's armor. They have tons of tools. You can over-level them. These games do have easy modes, and that, in my opinion, is the subtle design genius that a lot of these, like, ego gamers don't seem to realize. It's the fact that their favorite game that they think is the hardest game ever, that only, skilled players can beat, it has a fucking quantitatively easy mode. It has that easy mode built into it. It's the same thing as, like, imagine me fighting that dragon yesterday without the horse. And there are going to be guys that fight it without the horse, and it's 1,000 fucking times harder. And I didn't do that, and it made it a lot easier for me. Same as Hades. Yeah, I think Hades is another great example. Hades is an amazing fucking example. Is that Hades is a game that teaches you and makes you want to get better, and it slowly teaches you the mechanics through trial and error. That's the kind of game design that I think is good. Having players go up against a wall so early on in the game that is, especially a lot of these guys like Cody and people like that, this is their first Souls game. I think Cody beat Taurus Demon, right? But that's about it. This is their first Souls game. So yeah, it's totally different. I don't know, like, you guys seeing what I'm saying here? He almost broke his neck last night? Yeah, I bet he did. And so, yeah, ego gamers don't understand. Everyone's bad at Dark Souls series at some point. Ego gamers don't understand that. Yeah, and I think the funny thing is those ego Dark Souls gamers, whenever they were bad at Dark Souls, they were put up against Taurus Demon or fucking, corrupted Gundyr or Bort of the Boreal Valley. I messed it up again. Vort of the Boreal Valley. And it's like, yeah, man, like back in my day, it was really hard. He would go like this, and then he wouldn't do anything for 5 seconds. But if the little rocks hit you, they do like a tiny bit of damage. So, this boss is super hard. No, bro. Like, it's about making a game that encourages people. Like, you want to inspire people. You want to inspire players to finish your game. And whenever you have a boss that's too hard, too early, you just stomp that out. And that's all I'm really trying to say. Is like, I love Elden Ring. I'm having so much fucking fun with Elden Ring. But I am not talking bullshit here. I really don't think so at all. Golden Axe started in this game? Oh, I have no idea, because you have to figure out the order you're supposed to go and do it yourself. Yeah, and that's another big part of difficulty that Elden Ring has. So yeah. Vortial Valley? Yeah, Vortial Valley, you mean. Neo 2 does the same thing? I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, wait, what about it getting invaded? Oh, you can turn that off. Yeah, for sure. Exploring for gear hurts people's ego. See, like, for me, it's not about, like, I don't have anything to prove as a Dark Souls gamer, right? Like, I'm an okay player. I'm like probably a 7.5, maybe an 8. On bad days, probably a 6. I'm not that great. I mean, there's plenty of guys out there that are really, really good at the games. They're way better than I am. You have people like Lobos, like Elijah, like fucking, like Squillakilla on like YouTube. All of these, the Happy Hob, these guys are way fucking better than I am. It's not even close. So, like, that's the way, yeah, Distortion, that's another one, right? And these guys are a million times better than I am. So, like, I'm never gonna get to that level because I don't play the games the same as much as they do, right? And like, I'm not like a super good gamer, right? I'm all right, but that's about it. And so my plan is I'm good at strategy, right? I'm good at planning things out and figuring out how to win, even if winning is being a bitch. That's the way I see it, right? Some people couldn't even finish Demon Souls, which is the easiest Souls game. Elden's the hardest one yet. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's the hardest game yet or not. I feel like Sekiro might be the hardest game. It depends. Like, if you're bad at parrying, Bloodborne is the hardest game. If you're bad at deflecting, Sekiro is the hardest game. And if you're bad at not exploring around in other dungeons and maybe over-leveling a little bit, then maybe Elden Ring is the hardest game so far. I personally had the most trouble with Elden Ring. Or sorry, with Sekiro. Like, Bloodborne was relatively easy for me. I really didn't struggle that much with Bloodborne at all. Dark Souls 3, you know, we had the Nameless King incident, but besides that, I didn't really struggle with that game too much either. So yeah, that's it. Demon Souls hardest? Okay, alright, let's look at some stuff on Reddit.